I got something for you. Well, because you're just so fast, so furious, on pole, we have a new set of Alpine Star gloves. Awesome. Thanks to our friends at Competition Motorsport.
Now we're talking.
I know. So talk to us. How did you stay on pole? How do you get up there? What's your approach today going into the championships?
Look, let's be serious. There's luck in all of this. And I got a little lucky yesterday. Charles Ford, who's second, goes by the name Bubba. No joke intended. That's his real nickname. And Bubba ran a tire on the back of his car. He was trying to preserve tires for today. And that just caused him to slow down a bit. And so sometimes you get a little lucky. And that also means that I stayed consistent and didn't do anything dumb, and a little luck came my way.
That's right. Awesome.
So happy to be here, and happy to see the sun's trying to come out. This is going to be gorgeous.
So good. So talking about him being right behind you.
Thank you again, by the way. This is awesome.
You're so, that's our friends at Competition Motorsport. I cannot take the prize for that, but that's something that we're so excited to present that to you. You know, it's one thing having equipment that keeps you safe, but also new equipment always feels so good.
Yep.
So with that in mind, and with Bubba right behind you, also in the Bluey car, which I think is beautiful.
For sure.
Not
kid
just,
favorite.
I'll say kid favorite for sure. What's the gap about between you guys? He's going to be right on your tail the whole time today.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be lucky to hold, turn one with him. We're within a couple of tenths a lap. He and I run together almost every event, so we know each other, we trust each other, which is great. Same thing with the car in third, Sean O'Hara, he's right there with us. So I expect a three-way battle all day.
Awesome. And with that in mind, did you do any tweaks last night, or are you kind of keeping things the same as you did in quali?
Fresh tires, changed nothing else.
Awesome. Cool. What kind of tires are you running here today?
We got a Toyo RR, wears like iron, especially around a place like this that's a cheese grater asphalt. So happy to have a new set. They make you feel like a hero.
Awesome. So cool. And then also any other sponsors, partners, people that you work with throughout the year on your car?
Side of the car right there, RRT, man, they've been taking care of me for 20 years, 19 years. James and Barry and Matt, just that whole team over there. And special throw out to Billy. Billy takes care of this car week in, week out. Make sure it's safe first and foremost, and make sure that it finishes. The rest is up to me. So I cannot thank those guys enough. It just, you make this hobby possible. So thank you to all of you guys. Truly, I am lucky to have you.
That's great. And just like John said, so many more people at home are part of these teams that come out here. The drivers, they put the foot down, get it done. But there's so much work that goes in between these races to make sure not only the cars are prepped, but more than that, we keep them sunny side up and keep them shiny for them.
You're going to get me in trouble here if I don't mention all the folks at home. So thank you to wife and kids and Jackson and Avery and Katie. Appreciate you letting me come out and do this. This is my therapy, as somebody else mentioned today in the drivers' meeting. So I truly appreciate the ability to get away and escape and have this unwind in life. It's invaluable.
That's great. Well, we hope you take some hardware home to them. Kids can put up in their shelves, fight over it.
There you go.
It'll be awesome that way as well. Well, cool. Thanks so much.
Knuckleheads.
Absolutely. Let's take a couple steps down. We're going to chat to some more people here. I'll actually steal those back. Yep. So let's get some chit-chat with these guys. Hey, guys. How's it going?
Howdy.
Come around for those who want to give some insight. All right. We got.
And welcome back to Championship Sunday here at Pittsburgh International Raceway, the 2023 NASA Championships. I'm Edwin Pardue, DJ Fitzpatrick, helping us out here in the booth, Kelsey Hill down in the paddock. It'll be a standing start for the Spec3 cars. On the front row, we just heard from these guys, John McAvoy in the 07, car number 1, Charles Ford. Row number 2, the 19, will feature Sean O'Hara and Taylor Johnson in car 216. Andreas Schmidt, car number 23, he's in row number 3, and Angel Arias in 131 next to him. Harry Ramos, the 57 cars in row number 4, and Kevin Glaus, the 383 car. And then rounding out the top 10, Alex Whelan in the 04, Alex Rubenstein in the 53, and going 11th will be Joey Thomas. That's your Spec 3 starting lineup. So just a few more cleaning of the track here in just a little bit, and we'll go. You see that one yellow there. Oh, and it just went away. That means whatever they were moving, they've gotten moved, and that track section is good to go. DJ, this place, we talked about it yesterday, just beautiful. It's obviously been a nice wet summer up here because the grass looks like a golf course here.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful grass here at Pittsburgh International Race Complex. They revamped this track in 2017, but the quality of the track is showing right now. Beautiful landscaping. Ed, when you were going through the paddock earlier, you saw lots of maintenance crews there taking care of the track. So this is the perfect setup for our 2023 NASA championships.
Hey, speaking of the track, let's yeah, we'll take a look at the track from overhead. Kind of gives you a real description of this track, the elevation changes, where the corners, the straightaway. So to get a really good handle of what this track looks like, we put together a special piece for you so you understand this Pittsburgh International Raceway. And I'll tell you, the voiceover is magnificent. Pittsburgh International Race Complex opened in 2002 with a 2.78-mile long configuration and 36-foot track width. With 4 long straights, drivers have ample opportunities to make passes on one of the most challenging and engaging tracks you'll ever take on. Complete with 19 turns, pit race flows wonderfully and is as well suited to time trial as it is for racing. Turns 3 and 4 will remind you of the corkscrew at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Turn 5 is a tight downhill bowl with a tricky entry and a steep uphill exit. Turns 7 through 11 are some of the finest S's in the country. Turns 12 and 13 are essential to get right because they lead to the blind turn 14, which feels a bit like turn 8 at Sonoma Raceway, and it empties onto the long back straight with high-speed turns 15 and 16. The circuit features a peak elevation drop of 82 feet in turns 3 and 5, and a peak elevation climb of 85 feet through turns 5 and 6, with blind rises and exciting elevation changes. Reconfigured in 2017, the long straights will give drivers multiple opportunities for passes during a lap, and with the high and low speed technical elements, pit race will test the balance of car and driver. And we call it Championship Sunday, the 2023 National Autosport Association Championships. You got a great look there, a description of the race course that we are on, and just a few more prep to go before we roll out. DJ, one of the obnoxious things that they do on sports shows is they take the expert and then they ask him to make predictions of the upcoming race, which I think is ridiculous. So I'd like you to make your predictions on the upcoming race. All right, so let's go to Spec3. McAvoy, Ford, or will it be somebody else in the field?
Charles Ford was significantly faster in qualifying. He broke John McAvoy's old record here at Pit Race. So Charles Ford, we know, has the 1-lap pace. John McAvoy, a lot of experience. He has over 10 years in that Spec 3 car. So I think Charles Ford is going to take the win here over John McAvoy if he can put those laps together. The battle as well, 3rd, 4th, and 5th is going to be really hot in Spec 3. Taylor Johnson, Sean O'Hara, and Andreas Schmidt. Again, another wild card. Andreas Schmidt here picked up over 3 seconds since the last time he was here, putting in faster laps than Sean O'Hara and Taylor Johnson. So we might see, I'd give Andreas Schmidt the nod for 3rd place, but I know Sean O'Hara can be very tenacious over a long race.
All right, we're getting ready to roll here. I'm excited about this one. Buckle up because we should have, what's going to be interesting here, it's going to be busy, folks, so stay with us because these should all 3 be competitive races. Again, the E36 cars will do a rolling start, and then we're going to have a standing start for the Spec 3s and the Spec E30. So we're going to try to cover all 3 of these races because my guess is they're all going to be super competitive. To continue, everybody able to continue. You see now, let's see, are they going to hold the start here? Yeah, they're going to red flag here. But DJ, I counted. There's the drone shot. Everybody that went off track continued. So they had to wave off the second start, but everybody continued. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. The official saw that turn one incident, and we had Spec 3 sitting there at the line. There was no need to start that race already with drivers in turn one. We didn't know if they would be able to continue. No point in starting those races in Spec 3 and Spec E30. So we have a red flag out. What this indicates is everybody is supposed to come to a controlled stop, and they're waving them on. So they're probably going to catch those guys, bring them back to grid, make sure everything is squared away. And we'll probably see not a normal restart here with NASA. We're going to see that those restart is probably just going to be a normal start for those Spec 3 and Spec E30 drivers. We'll see how they decide to handle that Spec E46 restart. That's really, there is some flexibility in the rules for those that beginning start. So we're going to see a reset here.
Yeah, hey, DJ, does watching time and scoring, the clock does continue to run, correct? This 45-minute race, we're already 2 minutes into it, correct?
Yeah, so we're not under green flag conditions here. So they have stopped the clock, but our overall clock of what we have in terms of time to finish this race is continuing. So, they're not going to they're not going to log any green laps here. We're not counting down that 45 minutes. But again, we only have a limited amount of time for these racers. So because this incident happened in this race, the NASA officials will look at the schedule. Do we have enough time to give them a little more time than we would see if they just counted down the clock normally from those 45 minutes? So it's really going to see how much time we have in the schedule. We can't take away from our other race groups. Yep. NASA typically just tries to take the race time from the previous group.
On Spec 3, there is the standing start. What a beautiful shot. Overhead from the drone, they look to the starter stand. When that green flag comes down, they will go. Spec 3, McAvoy, and Ford on that front row. They're waiting. Lights come on top of the tower, and we are away. And the 216 car, Taylor Johnson, I don't know if that car stalled on the start, but he did not move the 216 of Johnson. And let's see if he gets that car rolling, because if so, if he's sitting there, that could be an issue with the next group. But everybody took off, and we'll go back and see if Johnson got rolling. As you see the shot overhead, that is beautiful. He did, because here's Spec E30 with the start. Grace Griscavage on the front row. They too now will wait for the green flag to drop. And again, a couple cars out of place here. Pennington, Gabetto, both with issues in their qualifying race. They have limited time now to recover, and we're away. And one car was slow on the start though as well, and that makes for some three-wide racing on the front straightaway. And here we are looking overhead, and here comes that field. Leader out front, and you've got cars 2 and 3 wide, somebody in the dirt there. And they all get through turn number 1. Holy mackerel, DJ. We need a break after just the start of this thing.
Yeah, you saw Griscavage. That was the second car, that silver car in Spec E30. He botched that start, so Griscavage falling back in the field. That helps Chris Gabetto move up a spot. We're looking back at Spec E46 leaders right now, changing position.
Mayshore, Kanasak, Hagginson, and Brainerd, 1, 2, and 3, 4. So Mayshore, who started on the front row there with Kanasak, he takes that spot. So that bright yellow 615 machine. Casey Mayshore is leading as they come up the hill. He's got about a 7-car length advantage over the 282 car, and then a bit of a distance back to 3rd and 4th place. That's a good battle there for 3rd and 4th at the top of the hill. You see those two? There's your top 4 in view right now in Spec E46. Waiting for our Spec 3 drivers. Yeah, go ahead. Now, just let me get Spec 3 real quick. It's McAvoy, Ford, O'Hara, and Schmidt. So there's are the top 4 in Spec 3. McAvoy leading the way. And then let's go to E30, because they should be coming across the line here in just a moment. There we go. There's Robert Grace leading the way. So, and look at the battle there. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. There's Gabetto Chris Cabetto, I believe, now up to second place as he chases Robert Grace. Grace with a bit of a gap. Let's set the field for you. Look at second, third, fourth, nose to tail. And I believe fifth place, did I catch Jack Cabetto to fifth? We'll go in car with Cabetto. So it's Grace. And then we pick up Chris Cabetto to second. Petey, Griskovich, Jack Cabetto. We ride with Jack Cabetto. So Chris is second, Jack is fifth from the back of the field on lap number 1. You see a couple cars sideways in front of him. Look how busy he is on the wheel through turn number 1. DJ, these cars are race prepared, but they are a handful.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke to that earlier with the Toyos on the Spec Miatas. They were backing them in. These cars like a lot of slip angle. They like sliding around. That's where you're going to get your fastest laps in Spec E30. Impressive Jack Cabetto. Already up from 11th into 5th on that first lap. That's going to really help him for this race. We'll have to see how long it goes if he's able to get in that front pack in front of him.
So we look at the hill there as they come, and looks like we're going to get some decent race time here. So drivers will have an opportunity to kind of work their way through the field. But exciting start already here. And again, you got Grace, Chris Cabetto, Cameron Beatty, 1, 2, and 3 in Spec E30. Mayshore, Kanizak, and Hagginson, they're the top 3 in E46. And Spec 3, McAvoy, Ford, and O'Hara. In fact, Spec 3 now just goes past start finish, and it's only 0.6 of a second separating McAvoy and Charles Ford. So a quick recap of all 3 classes. And I told you we'd be busy here because all 3 will be close races as we pick up races all through the field. Now, that is Chris Cabetto in the 78 car, and that's Cameron Beatty right behind him. Yeah, now he's going to try to take a spot. That is the battle for second in Spec E40, or excuse me, Spec E30. That's a good race right there. Cabetto with the best line, but DJ, he's got his hands full right there.
Yeah, all these drivers were in car right now with Jack Cabetto trying to make that pass on Beatty. Looks like Jack Cabetto has the pace at the start of this race. He's already moved up now into 4th place. Now he's got his father in the battle of Jason Griskovich and Chris Cabetto right in front of him. They go side by side into turn 1, very sideways. Chris Cabetto goes sideways into the grass.
Cabetto, Chris goes off. Advantage Jack. Jack was following those 2 guys and was able to move now into 2nd spot. But you see, he's got a lot of space to make up to catch Robert Grace, but he's got time to do it. My goodness, he's busy in that race car. Here he comes down the hill. So that now is Jack in 2nd spot. Let's see how many places Chris lost there. We're trying to figure. So 2nd, 3rd, there's 4th, 5th, 6th. I think maybe 7th. 9th spot, I believe, for Chris. I think I counted back with Chris back in 9th spot. So, and he goes off at 1, the same place where Jack did yesterday, where Bennington did yesterday, and where we had our Spec E46 off. That's a tricky spot. As we see right there, there's our Spec E30 leader, and we're going to see the gap. There's the gap to 2nd place. Can he start making that gap up? DJ, he's got his hands full. He's going to do it.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by the tactics of that front 2, 3, 4 position in Spec E30. Yeah, these guys should be working together to catch back up to Robert Grace. His gap was from the start. So we're looking right now at Spec E46. Casey Meshore under attack from Michael Koenigsegg.
That's a great battle right there in Spec E46. And that is, again, that's your battle for the lead. So the 615, that's Mayshore, the bright yellow car, Kanizak next to him. Those guys started on the front row, and they're battling right now. Here they come, nose to tail. We take a peek, sometimes going into this last little complex of corners, 18 and 19. If you can get a good run there or be in the right spot, you can make a run down the front straightaway. Mayshore's going to hold him off for now as they come by the entrance to pit road, and they'll stay 1-2 down the front straightaway. But you see that gap, maybe 4 car lengths. So maybe only 4 car links between them. Let's go to Spec 3, McAvoy and Ford. In fact, now we ride along with John McAvoy in the '07 car, but he does have a mirror full. We could kind of turn the mirror a little bit. You would see that full of Charles Ford's machine, but McAvoy's got some open road right now. What we can't see, DJ, is he's got a lion behind him.
Yeah, Charles Ford throwing down the quickest lap so far of the weekend in Spec 3. So we're expecting this battle to be extremely tight between these top two. They're all within the top three drivers, all posting best lap times within a second of the track record here. So they're all below the prior track record. Very close running together. Those top three are within 2 seconds of each other. So Charles Ford attacking on John McAvoy, but Sean O'Hara right behind too.
Yeah, McAvoy's got, a little bit of breathing room. What was that one? About 1.8 seconds. So he's as close as they're running. That's actually a little bit of a lead. But again, Ford's got to be concerned, as you mentioned, with O'Hara behind him, because Sean O'Hara is now putting up a big challenge to Charles Ford. Well, you can see right there, that part, DJ, where the car gets light at the top of the hill, and all of a sudden the car wants to wiggle around, and you can sometimes get busy hands there. Now we see the outside view of McAvoy's, but the car wants to get really light there before you go down the hill.
Yeah, these Spec E30s and Spec 3s are very softly sprung compared to some of the more super touring cars that have high spring rates. So they're absorbing this curbing and they're absorbing the undulations of this track a little bit better than those other cars. So they can really run it over these curves. And you see, John McAvoy not allowing it to slide over. He's got some soft hands right now. He knows he's got a long race. He gets a little sideways out of that S's right there, but keeping it completely in control, and that's really what he needs to do to control the front of this race.
As we ride with McAvoy, Robert Grace, real quick, that gap between Grace and Cabetto, it was 6.4. It is now 5.7. But let's look now at Mayshore and Canisac in the Spec E46. There is that battle coming down the hill. They've got a couple cars they're getting ready to catch. So that bright yellow machine, that's your leader in Spec E46. Canisac right there behind him, and you see a couple cars in front they're going to catch. And DJ, we see this can be a great opportunity for someone to make a pass.
Yeah, this is both an opportunity for Canisac and an opportunity for Mayshore. If he can put an E30 between him and Michael Canisac in second through this S's section, as we see Robert Grace, leader in Spec E30, going real wide. There's Jack Cabetto. There's Briskovich. Now we have the leaders of Spec E46 trying to get through. That's Eric Pennington. That's going to hold him up through that section. Canisac getting real wide as he went side by side with Spec 3.
Canisac, now he wasn't going wide. He was just using the grass to make the pass there because they got some traffic there. Now, here's the other thing. So now Mayshore is coming up on the front couple guys in E30. And so there you want to try to let him get through as quick as you can so you can get back to your race. And like I said, all these races within a race here, it's hard to keep track of. It's so tight. There's so much strategy going on. Mayshore and Canisac, they lead the way there, and I want to pick up where Grace was. So Grace was 5.7 seconds ahead. That's down to 5.2 seconds. So that's the gap in Spec E30. Now as we pick up, I believe there's McAvoy. So we're back with McAvoy as he comes out of the corner, leading in Spec 3. And last time by, he had actually extended that. In fact, Sean O'Hara, as you see, Sean O'Hara has taken over second. There's Charles Ford in car number 1. Ford now has lost a spot. That's a little bit surprising, DJ.
Yeah, through the weekend, he threw down the fastest lap time in qualifying. He seemed to struggle all of a sudden in yesterday's championship race, and now he's losing time to John McAvoy, let Sean O'Hara by. We have to wonder if there's a car issue there from Charles Ford or just some brain fog. This is a 100-mile-per-hour chess game. Maybe those two drivers got into his head. We'll have to hear from Kelsey if she's able to talk to Charles Ford after this race.
Well, and that's a great break for McAvoy. So you see now with O'Hara and Ford battling, McAvoy has extended that gap out to what, maybe 2.8 seconds. So as those guys battled for second spot, they allowed McAvoy to get away a little bit. McAvoy there off turn number 1 in Spec 3. McAvoy about a 3-second lead. There he is. He has led from the start, and it's O'Hara who's moved from third into second place in that race. That is Spec 3. I'm going to give you real quick. We've got a moment. Let me give you top 3 in each. E30 is Robert Grace, Jack Cabetto, Jason Griskovich. We just saw Casey Mayshore. This is E46. Michael Kanasak and Eric Hagensen in that race. And then Spec 3, we look at the John McAvoy 07, Sean O'Hara 19, and Charles Ford in the 1 car. So that is the top 3 in each class right now. As we're surely past halfway, we'll kind of monitor and keep our eyes on the flag stand. That's Eric Pennington you were just looking at. That's the 52 car, currently in 4th place. So Pennington has picked up a couple spots. He started, I believe, 8th or 9th, and Pennington has picked up a couple marks there in this one, DJ.
Yeah, we saw Pennington coming in from 8th place. He's already up to 4th. Jack Cabetto jumping from 11th to 2nd, and he got that all done within 3-4 laps. So now he's got the slow reel to race to try to catch back up. Another big mover is in Spec E46, Matthew DeGamaro. He is now already, he's now up into 11th from 15th place, so he's made up a couple spots. You know, so we're seeing a lot of movement across the entire field.
Check it back in, Spec E46, that battle between Mayshore and Kanasak, that's only a half of a second right now between those two drivers. And there they are right there, that bright yellow-green machine. That is Mayshore. Kanasak is following him. Remember, they had some issues in traffic last lap, but now Kanasak has reeled him back in. It's within a car length, and it is fun to see, DJ, because these cars really move around, especially right here in this corner. They really lean on it, but the drivers do stay busy in those race cars.
It's so key to get that exit onto the back straight, because that turn 14, they have to reduce speed, they got to go through there, and you see them leaning really hard on the exit of 14, because that gives them the run all the way down the back straight. And we've seen in the Spec Miata race earlier today, that draft was very powerful down that back straight, so that really makes a difference as you come to the line. You know, Kanasak right on the bumper again of Nashua.
And let's see if Kanasak can get a tow down the hill. He's going to try to pop out driver's left to get the inside line into turn number 1. Can't do it, but right in his tire tracks. I didn't know if maybe he would get enough of a tow to be able to kind of pop out into turn number 1. That race is very good right there. And let you know, in Spec 30, the distance from first to second is down to 4.5 seconds. Here is E46 down the hill, Mayshore, Kanasak, and can't really see a spot. Mayshore looks like he's just a little bit better everywhere, DJ, but not good enough, not quicker in a certain spot to make the pass. He can take a peek, but can't get by.
Yeah, this is excellent driving between the two. Every lap we've watched between these two, Nashua completely in control, not going too sideways. The cars move around a little bit, normal for a Toyota car. Yeah, we saw really that Kanasak was the one taking higher risks there, trying to keep up through some lap traffic. So these guys lead in Spec E46, lead overall, so they're going to be traveling through a lot of out-of-class traffic this entire race.
I'll tell you what, they almost look like a pair of cars going tandem drift as we rejoin John McAvoy at the lead of Spec 3. But Mayshore and Kanasak looked like they were doing a tandem drift, and there is McAvoy in Spec 3. Now let's see where he's gotten that lead out to. Oh, let's look up McAvoy. He's now 2.8 seconds ahead of O'Hara. Ford still there in third spot. So it's 07 McAvoy on your screen now. Sean O'Hara in the 19, the 1 car of Charles Ford. They run 1, 2, and 3. McAvoy's kind of had this race fall his way as we jump on board with John. Now, before this is over, he's probably going to have a few more cars in traffic to deal with. But right now, and we talked about this earlier, we've got that lead. DJ, you want to just be sure you're hitting your marks perfectly. Might have had a little bit of a slide right there.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just being very cautious with his hands. He's only losing about 1/10 of a second to Sean O'Hara on that last lap. He's in control. He just knows that it's more important to keep the car underneath you. You know, that whole, to finish first, you first have to finish. John McAvoy channeling that right now, just hitting his marks, continuing his race, keeping his eyes up ahead of him. And that's so important when you're leading these races.
So McAvoy will catch a few cars here in just a little bit, but again, he's got a gap back to second place. He's not forced to pass the cars in a place he doesn't want to. If he needs to wait a second and find a better spot to make the pass, he can. So he's got enough of a cushion not to have to force the issue. I believe that was Sean O'Hara we saw going by. That is the car that's in second place. And it will pick up the number there as he goes up the hill.
So that's Andreas Schmidt in Spec
Yes.
3. He ran some fast laps. He's picked up time throughout this entire weekend. He now just threw down a 2:03.322. So that's his fastest lap of this race so far. He's running comfortable fourth.
Should see E30 come by here in just a second. We want to check that gap at the front, see if it's gotten a little bit closer, as they should come by and trip timing and scoring here in just a moment. Again, there's your car, Spec 3, who's currently in fourth place, I believe. Yeah, fourth place. Who came up, started where? In fifth spot. So he's picked up a position. And here's the battle for the lead in 46. We've been watching this one. This is E46. This is Mayshore and Kanasak. And guess what? Kanasak's got it done now. Mayshore's going to try to cross back over. But that was the pass into turn number one. We were thinking last time, did he get enough draft to make the pass? And Kanasak. Now, Mayshore not going to give up. Mayshore looking drivers right. If he can stay there into this corner, I don't think he can do it. And they're back single file. So I wonder if Kanasak got just enough toe down the front straightaway to make the pass into turn one.
Yeah, he got that done at the front on that front straight. He stayed with them the whole time. That the benefit of the draft giving you a couple tenths of seconds. So we'll see if he drops Mayshore. Mayshore seems to stick right there. So I think this is going to be a battle all the way. It's whoever has a little advantage of being behind and getting that draft down the back straight and the front straight. Yeah, I think that's what's going to play into the end of Spec E46. You kind of have to strategize at the end of these races. Well, do I want to make the pass on the last lap or the lap before the last lap? Because if you do your pass too early and then the other driver gets his turn to be in the draft for the last lap, it depends on how you end. So, probably thinking strategy here between those two. Who wants to be behind on that last lap?
That'll be a fun one. And there you see him now. They're right back nose to tail again. Mayshore now tucked in. He's going to look to driver's right to see if he can get a position to Kanasak. But you're exactly right. Yeah, I guess you want to be leading on the last lap, because even if you get the draft, you don't complete the pass till after the start-finish line. So you probably want to make that pass as you come to the white flag, because even if the driver gets the toe on the last lap, like I said, at the start-finish line, you still haven't completed the pass. So something to think about. I don't know if they're thinking that far ahead. Because right about there, after you cross the line, that's when you pop out and try to make the pass. So you do that on the white flag lap. Kanasak just set a quick lap of 158.474. So give him, or check that, I'm sorry, he did that a little bit earlier in the race. I was going to say, that's pretty late in the race to be setting a fast lap.
Yeah, Mayshore seems stronger on the back, this front section of track that gets a bit twisty. We saw them come out of 18 and 19, and Kanasak was able to pull away a little bit, so Mayshore wasn't able to mount an attack even with the draft on that back straight and front straight.
DJ looking at time and scoring. Spec E30, the gap from first to second now is under 3 seconds as we go airborne. So again, it is under 3 seconds in the Spec E30 field. And what a beautiful sight here as you watch overhead. Here come the cars into our view. And I believe we're going to pick up, I believe that is the Canasac and Bayshore battle. As we take a lap with them overhead. You can see those are the connector roads where you can divide, as you mentioned, this track up into 2 sections. And there they are, Canasac and Bayshore. Canasac leading, Bayshore the bright yellow machine. And that is your battle for the Spec E36. Canasac started on the pole. Bayshore got by, led a good chunk of this, and now has handed the lead. I shouldn't say handed. It was wrestled away from him back to Canasac. Pick up some more of the field here. Can't be too much more left in this race. So it's Grace over Capetto in E30. Right there, Canasac over Bayshore in E46. And McAvoy, he's actually extended his lead over Sean O'Hara in Spec 3. So a quick recap for you of all 3 of our racing divisions here, or racing classes, I should say. Now let's see here. Is that Grace? I believe that is Robert Grace. There's Grace. So there is your E30 leader, and there is that Capetto. Has he gotten that close? Before it was just under 3 seconds. He has. So now, DJ, we've got a race on our hands for Spec E30, which we kind of thought we would at some point. Let's see what the gap is here. Oh, it's way under 3 seconds now. It's down to 1 second. DJ, that one's going to get good.
Yeah, that's obviously, you know, we look at the lap time. Robert Grace, over 2 seconds a lap slower on that last lap. So Grace making an uncharacteristic mistake. He is a 2-time Spec E30 national champion. So to see that mistake up front, Jack Capetto is in his mirrors. It's definitely shaking the confidence of Robert Grace. And now we have a battle on our hands the last couple laps between that first place and second place.
It was a great shot of the number 46 Griffin Racing Machine in Spec E46. Just a beautiful car to see on track. There he is. That's Griffin Racing back running in the top 10. Let's go back to the front. Canasac still holding off Bayshore. Bayshore is as close as he can get without having some contact. Is this Bayshore's chance to come back? He wants to be just as tight as he can before they come out of the last corner to try to get that run. And I mean, is it a big toe? DJ, how much are you getting in the draft?
You know, I'm just not seeing much with these Spec E46s for a draft. You know, it was a little bit more powerful, let, you know, Spec Miata gain back another car or 2 lengths, but I'm not seeing this, and it might also because of Bayshore's exit onto 14 and 15. You saw him in that overhead angle. He's a little bit more shallow into that exit, and that compromises his exit speed, and we see that down the back straight.
And we also see that white flag waving. So with the white flag out, McAvoy's pretty good in Spec 3, so we can kind of step away there. But here, the 2 races that are great, E46, we see the leaders are going to come into your screen right now. That's the battle on the final lap for Spec E46. And here now is the battle for the lead in E30. That is Grace and Capetto looking out of his front windshield. Here is the final lap for Spec E30. They will get the white flag as they go by. What was a 6-second lead now is a half a second. And Capetto, who started at 11, is now right there for the battle. So you've got 2 good ones on your hand. In fact, we're going to ride with Jack Capetto up over the hill. He's been faster the last several laps than Robert Grace. He's going to peak to driver's left. Now, this is going to leave him on the inside for a moment, and then the outside as this corner changes on him as they go downhill. Do they touch? No, they don't, but they were close. Now they switch back over. Can Capetto get to the inside? Wheel, hands full. Here they are down the hill. Robert Grace and Capetto, they're on their white flag lap. So too is Canasac and Bayshore. Here we go, the battle up top. And now let's go back to the lead here. We'll be able to watch both of these. So let's go, E46, and here is Canasac. Canasac trying to hold off Bayshore. All right, DJ, Bayshore's going to do it. Where's he got to go? Right now.
He's got to do it in the braking zone. That's all he's got. These have ABS, so you'll see a late brake move. There's Mayshore. He is not getting that exit out of 18 and 19. He tried to go to the outside, get a little bit over and over and under. Right now it's down to drag. See if he can catch back up to him down that back front straight.
Boy, he's going to pop out and try. They were side by side. Mayshore took a peek, and the gap Canasac's going to take to win 0.099. Mayshore popped out. Let's go back now to E30. Final lap here. Grace and Gabetto. We almost get to see the same thing again. They come over the hill. Where is Jack going to make the move? He's going to look. Driver's left. Can't quite get it done. Now he looks to the outside again. He's got to get a good run here. Good piece there. He's got his hands full. Up over the hill. He's right on the back of Grace. They touch a little bit. He's going to be on the outside. Here they come to the finish. Gabetto now going to try to peek to the inside. Does he have time to do it? We saw Mayshore try to pop out and get the win, and not going to do it. It's going to be Robert Grace hanging on, and Jack Gabetto 0.331 seconds away from a championship. Canasac 0.099 over Mayshore for a championship. And while McAvoy ends up Spec3 winner by 3 seconds, which is still a close race, his was the runaway, if you can call 3 seconds a runaway. Holy mackerel, DJ, I need to take a break. Are we to lunch soon? That was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be one to replay later on the Drive NASA's website.